This video will do a quick review of the Tiger tank made by Tamiya on product number 35227. Tiger tank is one of the popular tanks enjoyed by modelers, and this is a initial product made for African court. The tank was made by Germany in 1942, assigned to the 501 Heavy Tank Battalion fighting under Rommel. So Bradis bought this one for the part of the Rommel's diorama with all the other vehicles you saw. And there's a different version made by Tamiya. I think the number is 216, is a sign for Eastern Front. The major difference between the two models, one of them, the tank commander on the box on the poster you see, is different, and the other one is the air canister in the back. The African one have a kind of a filter in the back to filter all the dust and the sand in the North African environment. 6 spools in total, and you can see there's two spools for the wheels, one for right, one for left. Easy to identify and make them in groups. And the last one is the canister, and that's the different one for this model, the canisters and stuff. There's a tube in there, rubber tube. That's the exhaust pipe, so I'll talk about that later on. And there's the tracks, rubber tracks. Will be glued down later on together, no different than any other rubber tracks. And there's the lower hull with the side panels already made in one piece, and I'll talk about it later. So this is my identification is a good model for beginners, because the how they build and how's it look. And yeah, we'll start with the manuals and suspensions and the wheels in the first two panels, like any other tanks. And I put a suspension on, but I don't put the wheels on. I just separate them out, made them individually, but do not glue them on. That's my way of doing it, because it's easier for me to paint it later on. And also the wheels are outside of the wheel, the surrounding is actually a hard rubber, so easy for me to paint it that dark rubber color, instead of if you put them on the tank. The Tiger tank has 3 layers of road wheels, so it's really hard to get inside of it. So that's kind of my way of doing it. Rest of the menus, front panel, side panels. This is the back panel with exhaust. I'll put all those on when I before I start painting, but not the accessories. Like on top of the upper hull, all the accessories you see on the left-hand page, I'm not putting it on. And turrets, they put it on normally, and 2 pieces turret, the left and right, with the front panel and the top panel is standard for all the Tamiya tanks. And the reason I say this is a good and friendly for beginner, because the hull is already constructed. If you looking at those panels by yourself, you're looking at how many layers and making those close 90-degree angles is really hard to do it. And later on, it's really hard to fit all the panels front, back, and top into there. So it's already made easy for you to do later on. Remember the rubber tube I show you at the front? Those are the exhaust pipe. You cut them in 4 pieces and link to the other plastic part. In my hands there, that's the leftovers, so don't worry if you screw it up. There's plenty to use for correcting anything you did. And for gluing them, just put your cement move inside the rubber tube. They feel like a little bit mashed, but you put a plastic into it. After you put a cement, just use your thumb to rub it together. Make sure it's all sealed properly. Just leave it dry, don't touch it. You'll look perfect afterwards. Here's a dry fit for all the other panels. This is the upper hull and the front panel there. It's all fitted in because the hull is already pre-made, so everything just snap in perfectly. And I normally dry fit it before I glue them down. Look pretty good. And it's very easy to do. On the top of the upper hull, all the accessory, I'll not put it in until I prime them, I paint them. So I add them on individually later on, same as the wheels and the road wheels, and all the turret 2 pieces on the side, one top so fall off, and the front panels, and they all dry fitted in. They all fit in perfectly, no problem at all. There's one. Some people don't like the 2 pieces of turret. I don't mind it in this cases, because only one connection line will show on the back, but that will be covered by the storage box, so you actually won't see any lines. So it's easy easy to put it together, easy to hide it, and looks pretty good. Here's the priming, dark German gray, already primed once, and then later on use the German dark yellow, both from Vallejo. I think those are how the Tiger tank was painted back then. They were using initially using for Eastern Front. They used a dark yellow to paint it before the ship to Africa. And I like this kind of priming too, to leave a lot of a dark shade and dark space in the tank too, so give you a contrast. Here's the complete product. Some weathering on top of that, and with transfers and all the accessories. I don't like heavy weathering. I don't like chunks and stuff like that. So some light chippings and the some powder and dust to represent the sand and the dust on the tank. That's pretty much it. And the track and the wheels depends on what kind of weather on the things, or we'll put it on. And the background is the 48 scale. Thanks, guys.